Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Progress Report, a weekly program about economic development and local government in and around Green Bay and Brown County. I'm your host, Bill Meindl. A big thank you to Political Radar for creating, sponsoring, and producing this new show. Wow, that was the reaction by many last month when it was announced the main tenant in Green Bay's proposed multi-million-dollar downtown outdoor event center named the Shipyard was moving to Ashwaubenon next year. That tenant on the move is Green Bay's summer collegiate baseball team, the Green Bay Bullfrogs. Why Ashwaubenon? Because the deal with the city of Green Bay was unable to close with Bullfrog's ownership in more than 2 years of discussions, Ashwaubenon was able to seal in a couple of months. In fairness to the city deal was more complicated. The village has agreed to build a new $10 million stadium with a capacity of 4,000 spectators for sports on Holmgren Way, next to Village Hall, south of the Rush Center. So Green Bay's loss is Ashwaubenon's big gain. Here to talk about the new stadium and other recent developments in Ashwaubenon, a village of about 17,000 residents, is Village President Mary Kardoskee. Hello, Mary, and welcome to the Progress Report.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for inviting me today.
Glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
Well, first off, congratulations to the village of Ashwaubenon for landing the Bullfrogs and the village's decision to build the new multipurpose stadium.
Thank you. Thank you. We've had a lot of excitement around the area. The residents in Ashwaubenon, people who aren't in Ashwaubenon have called and said that they're very excited that the Bullfrogs are going to be in Ashwaubenon on Holmgren.
A lot of response in the community. Positive, huh?
Very positive.
This is a big deal, and not only for Ashwaubenon, but for the region as well.
It is. It's huge for the entire area. The Bullfrogs are finally going to have a place that they will be for a long time. They're much more than a baseball team. You know, they're an event-driven entity, so they're excited to get going and start planning.
I have to tell you, as one who regularly covers the Green Bay City Council, the contrast between the Ashwaubenon Village Board approving the stadium just days ago, I was at that meeting, and Green Bay discussing its shipyard proposal was stark. In the city, the new stadium has been objected to every step of the way by the alder in whose district the stadium would be located. But in Ashwaubenon, most or all village board members seem to see the potential here for economic development for the village. Your thoughts?
Our village board, I am one of 7 people that vote on our village board.
Sure.
And our village board has always been very proactive when it comes to development. When this was brought before them at our board meeting in January, they overwhelmingly, unanimous vote to go ahead with it and get going on the contracts, and our staff did an excellent job.
You have an image of where the stadium would be located.
I do. The village, directly south of Village Hall on Holmgren, the CTI site is the proposed area for the Bullfrog Stadium. We've met with the architect. He's very excited because it's kind of it's not a completely square site, and he really likes that. He thinks that's a great addition, and they're excited to get going.
There's a building on the property now, and that might remain?
So far, they're kind of trying to incorporate that into the design. They feel that it's going to bring a uniqueness to the stadium, and it'll be a great addition.
I should point out that before the village board approved the new stadium unanimously in public, it had also discussed the proposal days or weeks earlier in closed session, and understand at those meetings went into some detail and lasted hours.
They did. They was probably one of our later meetings that we ever have in the village. But the board asked good questions. They asked questions about, how is this going to help our community? How is this going to be good for the region? How are we going to be able to maybe incorporate some of our high school athletics if we need be? They're bringing minor league soccer to it. What events do you hold? And they understood it's very family-focused entertainment. So they're very excited.
The board did do a lot of discussion in those closed sessions before it went public with the village board itself.
Correct. They wanted to have some of the detail ironed out.
The new $10 million stadium was approved by the village board on a 5-0 vote with 2 trustees absent, I should say. Did their absence in any way signal concerns or opposition to the stadium?
No, they were there for the closed session portion, the questions that were being asked during the closed session. One of them, I believe, was ill, which a lot of people nowadays are having the flu bug.
It's going around.
Yes, it is. And the other was at the end of his vacation, so he will be back for all of our March meetings.
How did the village and the Bullfrogs get in touch with each other over the stadium, and when did that first happen?
It was late, very late in the fall that they had contacted the village, and we tossed it around as a staff and brought it, said, here's some bullet points of what this would cost, approximate places that we would put it, where we thought was the best spot financially, and brought it to the board in January.
When was that first contact, Mary? Did you say in January?
No,
December?
Late fall was when they possibly, I'm trying to think. Late fall was when they contacted us and said, do you think this would be a possibility? I'm going to say that was late September, October.
Okay.
And then in December late December was when they called and said that they would be very interested in coming to Ashwaubenon.
So there was preliminary contact around September or so, and then there was a follow-up on that in December.
Correct.
Did the village, I think you've answered this, did the village first contact the Bullfrogs ownership, or did the Bullfrogs ownership first contact the village?
No, the Bullfrog ownership contacted the village.
So when will construction of the new stadium start?
We're doing some soil borings right now. From my understanding, maybe in June,
Okay.
July, hopefully we'll get it going. They're seeing how much of that building that's already on there they'll be able to use and utilize. And
It's a big project on a fast track, isn't it?
it is. But Ashwaubenon's always been pro-development, so we're very excited.
What will be the name of the new stadium?
That we don't know. We don't, naming rights for the stadium, none of those things have been discussed.
And the income from any naming rights, that would go to the ownership of the Big Top Baseball, the ownership of the Bullfrogs.
Correct.
Now, the stadium, I understand, will feature artificial turf and host other activities as well, a summer collegiate soccer team, concerts, markets, perhaps high school events, and other community programming.
Correct. When Vern was at the village meeting on Tuesday, and we had the Boy Scouts there, 2 different troops of Boy Scouts, and he made the comment, he said, wow, wouldn't that be nice if maybe they could camp on artificial turf? So who knows what they're going to come up with to utilize that stadium.
So it's baseball games and practices, soccer games and practices, and all these other community events that may go on as well.
Correct.
I think the contract calls for at least 90 days of programming
Correct.
each year.
Correct. They had a minimum of 90 days, and they said that they will be having more than that, though.
Okay, terrific.
Yes.
Now, the village will bond for the $10 million cost of the project, correct? With about half of that paid back by the Bullfrogs ownership over the course of the 20-year lease?
Correct. They will. Their lease payment is set up for 20 years. It has an escalation cost in it. We have a cost in there for maintenance, because maintenance is a very big concern as you have any of these public buildings. So we have a maintenance clause in the contract.
So is there any concern about bonding for the $10 million project?
No, when we look at the total TIF numbers, the development that we've had in TIF 5 will cover this as the TIF plays out, and we do anticipate more development coming because of this project. So that should help pay for it with their lease payment.
And what kind of development might you anticipate?
We'll probably have, being the sports and entertainment district, there will probably be more restaurants, maybe more hotels. I don't know about, we have so much happening down in that area right now. with Titletown,
Sure.
with all the development that the Packers are trying to get going there and bringing people to the area with Titletown Tech. We have the apartments that are going in there, so we have a lot of development going on down there.
But any of the additional development that might follow is not part of the stadium proposal itself. That would come separately if it's to happen down the road.
Correct. We have, some of the areas that are across the street are vacant land. We have other areas in the sports and entertainment district. It also, I see this stadium, and I said this before, it's a bridge between our retail area and our sports and entertainment area. So you truly will be able to bring a family to this area. You've got the Titletown district, you've got the Packer practices at their practice field, you'll have the Bullfrog Stadium, you'll have shopping at the regional mall. We have a lot of interesting, fun things to do down there.
And the stadium will be about midway between Bay Park Square and the Resch Center, right?
Correct. It is just south of the Village Hall.
Also wanted to ask about parking. I know there's a parking proposal that will be submitted within the next month or two. How will that be handled? Because you're talking about a stadium that for athletic events will seat approximately 4,000 people at capacity.
Correct. What the ownership of the Bullfrogs do in their other areas that they are located, most of those are in residential areas, and they go to the local businesses and try to garner permission from the local business. They staff their lots, they clean their lots. There was an article from the Madison paper, I believe, that the residents were very concerned about them coming in and having this stadium there. And there was a follow-up article that none of their concerns were ever had because they do such a good job with their parking. So they've got a plan for their parking.
Will there be on-site parking for the stadium as well as off-site parking in other areas nearby?
Correct.
When will the stadium open?
They're hoping to have it open by spring of 2019. They usually don't start their season until Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So they're thinking that right after Memorial Day weekend, hopefully it'll all be open and ready to go.
As I mentioned, the capacity for the stadium for sports, it will be about 4,000. What would it be for concerts and other events? Is there a larger capacity for that?
They said that there would be a larger capacity because you would have the turf area for standing room or chairs. I believe that they said like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 for a concert.
Okay.
That they could seat.
You could get more in there for other events beyond sports.
Correct.
Just one other follow-up question on bonding. I noticed at the Ashwaubenon Village Board meeting, you asked if the bonding for this stadium would in any way affect Ashwaubenon's bonding rating. And the answer to that was no.
Correct. The village has strong credit, so our bonding rating will not be affected by this at all. That was a concern of mine, but it will not be. So we're very happy about that.
I know sometimes in the city of Green Bay at city council meetings, if somebody mentions the word bonding, some red flags go up. But Ashwaubenon has gone full into this project and feels financially this is in good shape and appropriate for the village.
Correct. When like I said, when all the numbers get put on paper and we look at the length of the TIF, it should all work very well.
Anything else, Mary, you'd care to add about the stadium project and how that's all working out? It's a quick project, it's a big project, and a little more than a year from now it would be open.
Correct. The only thing I would like to add is that as a community, as they're behind us on this, they're very happy to have this in the region. The staff at our village hall has been amazing, the work that they've put into making this happen, and just very proud of everybody.
Great plus for the village.
Yeah, it's a great plus for everybody.
True.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Moving on to another topic, what is going on with apartments in Ashwaubenon? By my count, more than 600 new apartment units are currently under construction or planned in the village, including Manso Flats, the Element Apartments, and Bohemian Park. And these are substantial buildings, 4, 5, and 6 stories tall.
Well, we have several different apartment complexes going up. I'll talk about Manso Flats first.
Okay.
Manso Flats is right on the river down by the marina, right off Broadway. It is 78 units. It's 6 stories. They will be market rate apartments, high-end market rate apartments. They are a developer from down in Milwaukee. They saw the site. They were very excited about it. I think it's a great addition to the river. When we started working with Ryan Bedford and his development team, they don't see, people have asked about 172 and it's too loud and it's too close to the apartments. They did not see that as a problem at all. They have ways of building that they will take care of those issues. So we're excited to get Manso Flats down there. We did a market study a number of years ago and saw that the pent-up demand for apartment to people to move out of their homes and need apartments in Ashwaubenon was at about 500. So we've got this development started a couple years ago. It should open next year. And they will be a great addition to the village. And they're very excited to get going.
And also on that site, you have a hotel, 2 hotels, and you have an office building as part of that boardwalk development.
Correct. The boardwalk development. Yes, those were that big office building has been down there for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
They're very successful right now. We have the Marriott Hotel is down there.
Mm-hmm.
The Aloft Hotel is down there. There's a restaurant down there. The marina, if you ever come over 172 in the summer, the marina is almost full with boats.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously taking off very well. So yeah, it's taken a number of years. You know, when that first started, that was back about 15 years ago, that whole river development.
Sure.
And it was in the downturn in the economy. It's now starting to take off very well. So it's going to be very busy down there.
That development, again, is called the Ashwaubenon Boardwalk, correct?
Correct. That's the Ashwaubenon Boardwalk.
Now, where Manso Flats is going, I believe that was a brownfield where some environmental remediation had to be done as well.
Yes. We had some there was a gentleman who had a hangar, an airplane hangar down there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So there was some issues, and then we're got a grant from the state to do some sinking of some logs down there to bring back some of the native fishing down there, and so it's coming along really great.
And then you also have some images of some of the other apartment projects underway.
We do. This is Bohemian Park, which is on the corner of Morris and Holmgren. The first building is under construction as we speak. It will be 50 units. They will have underground parking. There are 3 more buildings that I don't know, they have structured parking underneath the apartments, but part of it will be underground. There will be 3 more buildings of 50 units each. Mm-hmm. They're very excited to get going. This first building is the signature building for their family. So the son will be living in this building with his family, and he's excited to be down in the Ashwaubenon area. They had a local business here in Ashwaubenon, and they're very excited to stay.
And then you have another image from another development yet?
We do. This is the Slindy development, which is on the William Charles Court. You come off of Oneida Street onto William Charles Court by Sammy's Pizza, and we are going to put a north-south road in there. That road will all be renamed the Element Way. This Slindy development is going to be called The Element. This is their corner building, right on the corner of...
So that's another multi-building project.
Multi-building. This one will be 67 units. Their first 2 buildings, one is 67 units, one is possibly 71 units. They're 5 stories. Years ago, the village had a committee come together and did a height study and how high would you allow buildings to go. and they put together a whole height commission that, like, if you're on the starting at Holmgren, you maybe only be able to go up 3 stories, but as you go deeper into the land, you can go up 5 to 6 stories. So
That's
that
closer to the stadium as it gets higher?
yes, it gets higher, and that committee was put together probably 12 years ago that they did those heights. So you can get we knew back then that we wanted more height. We wanted more density down in that area to bring more people.
And in terms of single-family homes, Ashwaubenon has a limited amount of space for new growth in that area. So apartments is probably one of the ways to keep the population of the village going.
Correct. And everything that I've gone to, Bill, this last 9-10 months as the village president, it all points to everybody wants to attract the millennials.
Yes.
And the millennials want the higher end apartments. They want to be able to walk out the door and go shopping and go here and walk here. They want trails. And I think that this will all be coming together in Ashwaubenon.
Some local politicians or communities are wary of apartment construction, but not Ashwaubenon. There's certainly a demand for single-family homes, but the future of urban living in Brown County seems to me to include apartments as well.
Correct. We see, like I said, that study that we did a couple of years ago showed a pent-up demand, immediate demand up through 2020 of 500 apartments. And, you know, we feel that after 2020, it's going to be even more with all of the development that we've got going on.
So these 3 new projects will, with 600 some units, that will already take care of that demand that's on the boards right now. But who knows after 2020 how things will be going.
Correct. This whole area in Ashwaubenon has kind of become Ashwaubonon's downtown.
Sure.
We always refer to the corner of Mike McCarthy and Holmgren Way as that is our main and main, and everything kind of goes out from there.
And what about new hotels in the village? New projects include Lodge Kohler, Residence Inn by Marriott, Home 2 Suites by Hilton, and Comfort Suites.
Yes, we've got a lot of hotels that have gone up. The Home 2 Suites is on Morris Avenue. That's a real nice hotel. I've stayed in Home 2 Suites down in Milwaukee. They're a very nice hotel. It's a Hilton product. Lodge Kohler, of course, if anybody's gone through Lodge Kohler, they know that that's an absolute beautiful hotel. It's a 4-diamond hotel. They have their spa and their restaurant. I've been there, and it's very, very good.
A couple of restaurants.
Yes, they have a couple of restaurants. They have the Leaps and Bounds Cafe, and then they also have their fine dining up on the 5th floor.
Mm-hmm.
They're both very good. Then we have the Marriott, which is kind of an extended stay that's down by the river. And we have a Comfort Suites that will be going on the south side of Mike McCarthy on the land that the village had owned that we acquired from Trailer Equipment.
Obviously, at least some of the demand for new hotels in Ashwaubenon must be due to Lambeau Field and the Packers.
Oh, yes.
Is that what's driving the hotel?
Well, that drives the hotel, but, you know, we've also got the Expo Center is coming. We're building a new Expo Center. They're anticipating with the new Expo Center that we will have more demand because of the bigger events that they will be able to create and attract to the Green Bay Ashwaubenon area because of the large amount of flat space that we will have in that new Expo Center that we don't have now, that we can't go after some of those bigger conferences.
More flexible space for conventions and other programming.
Correct.
So what is it about Ashwaubenon? What's driving all of this? You've got apartments, you've got hotels, you've got the Titletown District, which we won't even have time to get into today. You've got the new stadium coming. What's going on in Ashwaubenon? Why all this development?
Well, I've been on the Ashwaubenon board for 13 years now. I've been the president for almost a year now. Ashwaubenon has always been very pro-business, pro-development. We don't stand in the way of the people that want to come into Ashwaubenon and build. We we welcome them because that's what keeps your community vibrant. We protect the residents, and yet we're very proactive with the development side.
And another topic we haven't even talked about either is Oneida Street. That continues to develop as a commercial district and a commercial corridor.
Correct. Oneida Street's always been very busy. They're home to I'm going to say the biggest mall in the Northeast Wisconsin area. It's a regional mall. So they do very well. And all the development that's going on, I just see that all being good for all of it because malls, as we all know, the younger people do a lot of online shopping. But when you capture people in a market, when they've got a couple hours of downtime, they'll maybe go to the mall.
Which reminds me of another follow-up question, Murray, again, going back to apartments. You mentioned millennials. Aren't empty nesters also a part of the vision for who's occupying these apartment buildings?
Oh, absolutely.
Retirees?
Correct, absolutely. There's a lot of people come up to me and they, tell me, where's our senior housing? And they want active senior housing. They don't want senior housing that they're just going to sit in their apartment and watch TV. They want active senior housing, and that's why a lot of these apartments are going to go quite well.
And that's it for episode number 5 of the Progress Report. Thank you, Murray, for being on the program.
Thank you, Bill, for inviting me.
And thanks to executive producer Dan Jones, producer Jacob Jones, producer Darian Goheen, editor Christian Rivera, and technician Serena Waryak. Be sure to subscribe to Political Radar on YouTube, join the Political Radar community group on Facebook, and you can support this show financially by purchasing the Political Radar merchandise from our shop. For more discussion, check out Blind Partisan, plus Green Bay development news on Skyscraper City. This episode of the Progress Report was recorded March 2nd, 2018. Thanks for watching. See you next week.